Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Veena. Before I start, I just wanted to say that at the end of the webinar, we will be welcoming Vinny, our Teachers to Parents expert, who will be giving you a short demonstration of our virtual Parents Evening solution. Vinny will be giving you an exclusive offer today and show you how the system works for you. So back to SchoolMoney. In today's webinar, I'm going to focus on some of the end-of-year processes that you can start working on before you break up for summer. And I'm also going to point out some processes that you need to complete at the start of the new academic year. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please use the chat facility and my colleague Richard will try and answer as many questions as he can. And if we do have time, we'll try and cover some at the end of the webinar. Any questions we do not get time to cover today, we will try and respond to those individuals at the end of the webinar, or at some point after the webinar. So because September is a busy time for all schools, as well as our SchoolMoney support team, there are several things that can be done prior to September to avoid any delays in using the system. So what I would probably suggest is have a look at our end of year guide, which you can find just over here in the top right hand corner by clicking on the guides button. And there's an end of year guide in here, which will go through everything that I'm going to go through today with you. And there is a checklist in there as well, which will point out the things that you can do before September and also during September as well. So firstly, the question is, do your bank details need to be changed? Have a look in our admin section and go to Bank's Information Local Authority and have a look at the bank information that we've already got set up for you and the bank's references. And if this does need updating, then please, send that information to our support team so that can get updated for you prior to September. And if you have any new bank details, then you will need to provide us with a void check, pay-in slip, or a bank statement just to verify that information. So that's in the admin section, Bank's Information Local Authority. Okay. If I go to the Payments tab now, on my payment screen, I'm just going to set the academic year to all. It does default to the academic year that you're on, but I do advise you to set it to all, and you will see all of your payments. And if any of your payments have been paid off, they will be highlighted in green, and the amount should be 0. So you may want to archive these payments. So you can either archive the payments individually just by ticking the box, and then click on the action drop down in the bottom left, and then choose Archive, and then press OK. Alternatively, if you've got lots of payments that need to be archived, just click on the Archive All button, and then press OK. And all the paid ones should disappear. Okay, it just goes in the background for you. If you do need to bring that payment back for whatever reasons, all you would need to do is tick this box in the bottom left-hand corner to show you the archive payments. You'll then be, you'll be able to see a list of all the archive payments, and you can tick the one that you want to bring back. And again, using the action drop down, unarchive it. Okay. So I just go back, so we can now see that on our screen. Okay, so try and keep on top of archiving payments so you're just left with the payments that are outstanding that you can work on. The next question is, do any of your leavers have debts? Okay, so, at the end of this academic year, if any of your leavers have got any debt, have a look at the report section and go to the money overdue report. Now, this report does only show you the last 7 days worth of debt, but if you go into filters, you can filter it down depending on what you're looking for. So what I suggest you do is set the due date to all. And if your leavers are year 6 or year 7, just filter for that year group and then press OK. And then you should be able to see all the debt for year 6. Now, the question is, do you want to continue chasing these leavers? If you do, then just press the Chase Overdue button. If you're no longer going to chase them, then do you want to write off the debt or remove them from the payment? If they haven't actually paid anything towards the trip or whatever it is that you've set up, you can just remove them from the payment as well if you need to, or simply write off the debt. So I'll show you both. But if I just double click on this payment, it actually takes you to the payment itself. and we can see the payment and the children that are overdue. Now, one of the options you've got is just click on the child. You can either double click on them and it takes you to manage payments, or you can click on the actual the child, so they're highlighted in grey, and then click on manage payments. And then with these drop downs, you can actually go down and with against each installment, you can write off anything that they don't need to pay and put your reason there why you're writing it off. Alternatively, if you want to and they haven't paid anything towards that payment, you can just remove them from the payment. So this person over here, all we need to do is click on Manage Students, and the remove button is still visible for them because they haven't made any contributions, and just remove them from the payment and then press Save. So with regards to the write-off, you can either do that through this payment, or you can actually go to the cashier tab and write it off through there. So you've got two different ways that you can do that. Okay. So just work through this list. If there are any payments that are overdue, they will be highlighted in pink. Just go through them. And like I said, either remove them from the payment if they haven't paid anything towards it, or write it off. If there's any dinners or club payments, they would need to be written off. You won't be able to remove the children from those payments because you would be marking in the dinners and the sessions through the registers. So you'd only be able to remove the child from the payment if it's a one-off payment. Okay. Another question is, do any of your leavers have any credit? So any children that are due to leave soon, are they leaving with credit? Again, have a look in the report section and scroll down to the credit report. You may want to actually backdate it so you can see, you know, going back to when you maybe started using SchoolMoney, and then have a look if there's any credit on there. And then if there is credit, what do you want to do with that credit? So there's a couple options that you've got. One of the options you've got is either refunding the parent back, or you could transfer the credit to a sibling. So I'll show you both. So if I go to the cashier tab and just go for Joe Bloggs, over here where it's got parents in credit by, this will show you if they're leaving with any credit. And what you can do is click on the amount, and from this window you can either refund them back or transfer the credit to a sibling. So with regards to a refund, all you would need to do is highlight the payment, so it's grey, and then you click on refund, and then you choose their refund method, the amount you want to refund, and you can also put a little note in there as well if you want to, and then you would press refund. You would need to refund them back in the same way that they've paid you. So if they have paid by cash or cheque, you would need to give them cash or cheque back. But if they have paid online with a debit card or credit card, it can go back on the same card that they've paid on, providing that you've got the funds available to do that. So choose the option that you'd like, the amount you want to refund, add any notes in, and then press refund. The other option you've got is transferring the credit to a sibling. So if this person has got a younger sibling that's staying on at school, again, you click on the payment so it's highlighted in grey, and then you click on transfer credit to sibling. Providing the children are linked, the sibling's name will come up. You choose the sibling that you want the payment to go to and the amount you want to move across to them, and then you press OK. If I come out of there, this siblings link over here, that will take us to the sibling account. So if I go to Josephine's account, the credit is now on that other child's account. The way the siblings are linked on SchoolMoney is through their contact information. So providing they have the same mobile number and email address, they will be linked on SchoolMoney. But if they're not linked on SchoolMoney, double check their information in the admin section, students, and just make sure they have got the same information. Okay. If I go to admin and staff members, do you need to remove any staff members that are no longer in the school that take dinners? If you do that in the admin section. all you would need to do is go to admin, staff members, tick the staff members that you want to off-roll, and then using the action drop-down in the bottom left, you click on update admission status and change it from on-roll to off-roll, and then you press OK. And that's it, they've gone. Do you need to add any new staff members onto the system that take dinners? If you do, you press add in the bottom right-hand corner and you complete this information. So I'll just make this up, and we've got David Baines. You set the year group to staff and the form to staff as well. Admission status on roll, and you add in the mobile number and email address, but I'm just going to add in +44 for today and then save it. And now David is on our list. Okay. Before September, you may need to update your free school meal entitlements. So if you are using Sims, then these entitlements will automatically come through from Sims if you've got the V44 link. It's always a good idea to have a look at the report. So if I go to reports and scroll up to the dinner section, you've got a free school meal report. Have a look on here to see that the free school meals are correct and the entitlement start and end dates are correct. But like I said, if you've got the latest version of the Sims link, which is a V44 link, then free school meal entitlements will automatically come through from Sims once you run the update. But if you use any other MIS system, then you do need to add that in yourself in the admin section. So to add in free school meals, you go into admin, go to students, find the child and double click on them. Tick the box where you've got free school meals and then enter in their entitlement start and end date. So with regards to the end date, I know a lot of systems don't have end dates anymore, but you may want to set this up so it covers them until they leave. So maybe just set the end year to 2025 or something like that. And you'd need to do that for each person that you need to set up for free school meals if they are entitled to it. Anyone that's universal infant free, that should already be set up for you for anyone that's in reception year 1 and 2. So have a look in September again to see that is still set up for you, but you just need to do the ones that are free school meals that are pupil premium in that way that I've just showed you. Next question is, have you set up your new dinner week for September? Okay, so we do that through the payments tab or through the dinner register. So I'll show you both ways. If you're doing it through the payments tab, you go to add in the bottom right-hand corner. You choose your payment type as dinner money and then create payment. And then you set the start and end date depending on how many weeks you want to create. Okay, so whether you're using the dinner register or the cashless catering tool, you still need to create the first weekly dinner payment and make sure that you add in any new intakes and remove any leavers from this payment. And I suggest that you do this before you set up several weeks in advance. So only set up 1 week to get that correct before you set up any more. The alternative way is by going into the dinner register, setting the date to the week in September that you start back. So if I just set it to the 1st of September, let's go for the 6th. Change the filter to all, and then you just press save in the bottom right-hand corner. And then OK. Now, once you save that register, if you refresh, which is F5 on the keyboard, that will take you to your payment screen, and you should see that payment on your payment screen. Now, if I go into this payment, just by double clicking into it, and then go into manage students in the bottom left. Anyone that's on the left hand side is not included in that register payment for dinners, but anybody on the right hand side are included. So you need to remove your year 6s or your year 7s, whichever year group's leaving, or any children that you know about that are leaving, remove them from the dinner payment so they're not obviously visible on the registers in September. So if I set the year group to year 6 because they're my levers. And then we just press remove all and then save. Now in September, when you have admitted your new pupils onto your MIS system, they will need to be added to the dinner payment. They will not automatically be included. So in this same payment in September, you're going to come back into managed students. And again, the people that are on the left-hand side are not included in dinners. So you're going to filter to all the year groups that you want to include that are missing. And then press add all on the left-hand side if everybody needs to be included. And then once they've moved across to the right-hand side, you press save. And then once you've saved it and saved it in the bottom right, they will now be visible on your register. But until you do this bit, they're not going to be visible on your registers. Okay. Do you need to change your dinner cost for September? If you do, again, providing you've created the first week like we've just done, what you need to do is go to admin and scroll down to the dinner section. Now, if you're just using the dinner register, like I said, make sure that you've created the first dinner week and then you go to manage dinner payments. And then you should see the week that you've just created. Click on it so the whole line is grey. And then you click on update amounts. You change the amount per child. That will automatically update the amount per week for you. And then you just press save. Now, if you have set up several weeks in advance, you would need to do that for every single week that you've created. So to start off with, I suggest only setting up 1 week and then making those changes to the pupils and the cost before you set up any more weeks after that. If you're using cashless catering, you will also need to do the same thing. You'll need to create the week, add and remove the children from the same dinner payment, change the amount in this section. But also, if I click on the back button, you go into dinner items, and then you would need to edit the cost for each item that you see on your screen. So all you would do is double click on the item, change the amount, and then save. And like I said, you would do that for every single item that you want to obviously have the new price for. If you need to add a new item in, you just press add in the bottom right-hand corner. Complete this information. So add in the item name, the price, the type, any allergy information, choose what days these options are available, assign it to a menu, and then just press save. If you've got a completely brand new menu that you need to import onto the system, if you no longer need these options, these menus, then you can delete them before importing the new ones in. So just select them all and press delete in the bottom left. But if you know these menus are going to come back round again at some point, when you import the new menus in, just assign it to a different menu. So maybe do menus 4, 5, and 6. You can have up to 20 menus on the system. So if you've currently got menus 1, 2, and 3 on the system, when you do the next import, assign it to menus 4, 5, and 6. If you're not quite sure where to actually get the spreadsheet from to actually record your menus on, it's in this section over here, import dinner menu. And you need to download this file, which is a spreadsheet that you can complete. So if I just show you my spreadsheet, you need to add in the item name, the price, the type if you want to. You don't have to add in the type if you don't want to, but you can if you do. When you do the price, don't add in the pound sign or the penny sign. Just leave it as figures. Choose what menu you want to assign each option to. Then choose who it's available, whether it's to students, staff, or everyone. And then just choose what days this option is available. And then once you've done this and you've saved it, it does need to be a CSV file. And there are instructions on how you do this, which is basically, again, in the guide section, right at the bottom, you've got a dinner money import guide. So have a look at that, and that will show you step by step how you complete the spreadsheet and how you can import it. But once you've saved your spreadsheet, you need to import it in this section. So the same section that we were in, import dinner menu. You need to choose the file, validate the file, make sure there's no errors, and then import it. And then it should tell you that it's been completed. And then once it's completed, you can have a look in the dinner items section and they should be on there, but you may need to refresh if it's not there straight away. So if I just refresh, go back into admin, dinner items, and the new options are at the bottom, just over here. Okay. If you're not doing pre-bookings and your parents top up for dinner money, if you are changing the price, you may also want to change your dinner top-up amount to reflect the weekly cost. So again, you do that in the admin section and you go to parent options. And just over here where it says default dinner top-up amount, you set the amount to the weekly amount or any amount you want your parents to see as a default amount, and then just save it in the bottom right-hand corner. So that's dinners. Let's move on to clubs now then. So the same thing with clubs. If you're using the club register, have you set up your initial club week? So the same way again, there's two ways that you can do this, either through the payments tab or through the club register. But again, once you've created the initial club weekly payment, any new starters will need to be added to the initial register payment, and any pupils that have left will also need to be removed. And again, I suggest that you do this before you set up several weeks in advance. So I'll just show you again how to do that. So if you're doing it through the payments tab, you click on add in the bottom right-hand corner, change the payment type to club extended services, and then create payment. If you've got more than one register for clubs, choose the register that you'd like to create the week for. And then again, you set the start and end date. If you're doing it through the club register, you go to the club register tab. Again, choose which register you'd like to set up the week for. Set the date. Make sure your filter's on all as well, if you can't see any pupils in there, and then press save. Once it's saved, refresh, which is F5. And then you should see your after school colour payment on your screen there. Again, if we double click into this payment, you need to go to manage students in the bottom left. Again, any children that are on the left-hand side are not included in the register, but the ones on the right are included. So remove your year sixes if they are leaving. So change the year group to year 6. Remove all and save. But again, in September, once you've admitted your new starters, you will need to come back into this payment by going into Manage Students. Filter for the new children. And then once they're on the left-hand side, you just press Add next to their name. So they move across to the right-hand side, or do Add All, and then you press Save. If you need to change the cost for your clubs, again, you do that through the payment itself. So my cost is going to change from the 6th of September. So that's the week I've created. And in this payment, you've got configure durations. And we're going to have an extra cost now. So we're going to go to 4 durations per day. And we're going to do £3. And then just put your description next to it if you need to. And then just press save. So it's configure durations where you actually set the cost amount. If you need to change it from 4 to 2 prices, again, just change your durations per day depending on how many costs you want to set up. And then just save. And then it's save in the bottom right-hand corner. Once you set up the cost in this payment, when you set up any more future weeks, the cost will automatically roll over. However, if you have set up multiple weeks in advance, you will need to amend the cost and the pupils for every single payment you've created already. So try not to do too many weeks in advance until you've got those settings correct. If any of your children that have left still appear on the system in September, this will be because they have outstanding debt, which you will either need to write off or chase to clear as mentioned earlier. So try and keep on top of that. If anybody is on the system, it's probably good that you remove them from the registers so they're not visible on the registers, even though they're still on the system, because you want to chase them. But if you do need to off-roll any pupils manually, I'm just going to go through that with you as well. So we need to go to admin. And then scroll down to students. So if you need to off-roll any children manually, or if you need to bring a child back on roll because they have been off-roll but actually they've left with credit, it's the same process. What you need to do is, if you're off-rolling someone, you just tick them and then go to action in the bottom right left-hand corner, click on update admission status and change it from on roll to off roll, and then press OK. If you need to bring somebody back on roll, then you need to change this drop down first of all, the admission status, to off roll, or just leave it on all. And then you're going to see all the people that are on the system. And you can actually use the student field over here just to filter it down depending on who you want to bring back. And then all you do is tick the person that you want to bring back. Let's go for this person. And again, action in the bottom left, update admission status, and then change it to on roll, and then OK. So they're now back on roll. You may need to refresh your screen before they'll appear on the cashier tab. So refresh is F5. Now we do advise you that you check any pupils for credits and arrears before they are off-roll manually. So again, have a look at the credit report or the money overdue report before you do off-roll anyone. If I just go back into admin, have you set up any groups manually on SchoolMoney for dinners or clubs? If you have, they also do need to be updated manually as well. They won't automatically update themselves. So you do that in the admin section again, and you go to groups. So if you have currently got your leavers on in any of these groups, you will need to go into them and remove them from the group, and then add in any new people that you want to see on there. So if I go to Key Stage 2, I've got some Year 6s in here. So I'm going to remove them. And if you want to add anybody in, you just press the add button next to their name. So depending on who you want to take out, just order it, remove them, and then anybody else that you want to add in. Again, just filter it depending on who you want to add in. Press the add button next to their names, and then press save group. If you need to set up a new group, you press add in the bottom right hand corner, give the group a name, and then filter it depending on who you want to add into the group. Add the children in so they move across to the right hand side, and then you just press save. So if I just try and set one up. And then once you're happy, you just press save, and now you've got that club set up on the system. And then these groups are there so you can actually filter your, your dinner registers, your club registers, or even when you're doing the payments, you can actually filter for the actual group itself. Okay. Next, we're going to have a look at how you update your pupil data. So in September, you will have new intake. And once they're admitted on your MIS system, they will need to be imported into SchoolMoney. They won't automatically be imported unless you've got the SIMS link V44. So depending on your MIS system, you will obviously need to update your information. So if you use SIMS and you've got the automatic link, then like I said, you don't have to do anything. The data will automatically come through on the system. If for whatever reason your SIMS link has disappeared, again, have a look in the guide section and go to the end of year guide, and it is in there how you can actually install the link again. But I have actually got Teachers to Parents open. Even if you don't use Teachers to Parents, you can sign into Teachers to Parents using the same credentials that you've got for SchoolMoney. Go to the Messaging and Forms service. Click on Admin. There's a Setup SIMS tab in there, and you can install the SIMS link V44. But like I said, there is a step-by-step guide in the user guide section, how you can actually install that if you need help with that. Okay. If you are hosted SIMs, then you will need to run the central V11 link or V12 link via SIMs to pull across your data. If you have any other system and you're using WAND, then again, you'll need to run the update via teachers to parents. So again, if you don't have access to teachers to parents, you can still sign into it with your SchoolMoney credentials. And you need to go into admin and you'll see a WAND tab. Your WAND ID should already be filled in for you, so don't make any changes to this information. All you simply do is click on Import Student Details. And if you do not have WAND or you don't have SIMs and you don't have a management information system, then you will need to send us a CSV spreadsheet with the pupil data prior to September. So that's something that you can start working on right now if you know who the children are going to be. And if it's something that you can't work on right now, as soon as you have that information, send it across to our support team so we can upload it for you. If I go back to SchoolMoney. Also in September, when you get your new pupils, you will need to send them a welcome message so that they get their password. So to do a welcome message, you go to Admin, Students, and let's just say my new starters are the year reception. So you can filter it depending on who you want to send the message to. And then you can either tick them individually or click on Select All. And then once they are ticked, you've got an action drop down in the bottom left. And then you click on Send Welcome Message. Okay. And then you choose how you want the message to go. And then you press Send Reminders. And that's how you do your welcome message. That will generate the password. Okay. You may also want to send your parents an app message as well, and that can be done through reports. So if I go to reports, scroll down to app users. Now, if you can't see this folder, again, get in contact with our support team to get that enabled for you. But if you have got it, again, click on it, filter for the new starters. So again, that's my year reception. Tick all the people that you want to send the app message to, and then click on Send App Message. And all you're doing is sending them a link to download the app if they haven't already got it. Okay, so that's the end of the SchoolMoney webinar. So I'm just going to leave the session open for some questions, which we're just going to go through right now. So one of the questions we've got is if you can have dinner money paid to your local authority. Yeah, absolutely. So just provide us with the sort code and account number and also a reference. So if you've got like a cost center or a reference so that the school can identify the payment is coming from your school. You may need to get a letter-headed paper from, from the actual council or from the head teacher signed just to verify that information. But yeah, absolutely. You can have it going to a local authority, a catering company. You just need to send that information across to us so we can get it uploaded for you. Any new bank details may need a void check, a pay-in slip or a bank statement. But obviously if you can't get a void check or a bank statement from a local authority, hopefully you can get a pay-in slip. But if you can't get that as well, a letter-headed paper from the council should be okay as well. So I've got another question that's come through. Okay, so I've got a question about adding pupils in or staff members in if they join the school in bulk. So if you have set up several weeks in advance, I showed you how to add the pupils in or remove the pupils from the actual payment itself. But if you have set up several weeks in advance, then you can actually add and remove the pupils from Register Manager. So all you do is go into Admin, go to Register Manager, select the registered group. So that might be your dinners or your clubs. And then you should see all the weeks that have been set up. So if I just select none and only select the last few that I want to add and remove them from, you then just click on Manage Register Memberships. Select the year groups that you want to include in the register. So I'll just do lots of different ones. And then if I do Add All and then press Manage Register Memberships once they've moved across to the right-hand side, you can see there's a little color key over here. So the ones that have got the green boxes, they're already included in the payment. The ones that are orange, there isn't any on here, but if they had any orange boxes, they're the ones that you want to add. And any that are in red, they're the ones that you want to remove. So if you want to remove any, you can just click on the actual box until it goes red. If you want to add somebody in, it just goes from white to orange. So it just depends on what you want to do. So either click on the round circle if you want to add them into all weeks, like this, or this person I want to remove. I can click on it so it goes red. So once you're happy and you've made those changes, you just press save. And that will then adjust the register for all those weeks that you set up in advance. So you don't have to do it individually. You can do it through Register Manager for all the weeks that you have created in advance. Okay, so another question we've got is how you can archive a trip if it says that you've got outstanding payments. So you won't be able to archive a trip if there are outstanding payments. So what you will need to do is either remove the children from the payment or write off their debt. So if I go into this payment over here, so this is my trip payment, I'm not going to be able to archive this payment because we've got debt. So if this person didn't pay anything towards it, we could just go into Manage Students, and there should be a remove links next to their name to remove them completely from the payment, and then you should be able to archive it. But because we've just partially paid this, if I just go into this and pay off the rest, once it's been fully paid, then you should be able to, you know, archive it. So if obviously if they don't pay you, just write it off if you can, and put your reason there why you're writing off. So maybe they can't afford to pay you, or you've come to some kind of arrangement. Just put your reason in there, or if they're pupil premium, for example, and then write it off. But once all the installments are written off, like so, save it. If I close now, it will be highlighted in green. So now I can click on Archive All, or just tick the box, press Action, and Archive. And then it's just gone in the background for you. So you will need to clear off any debt or remove the pupils from the payment before you can archive the payment. Okay, let's have a look if we've got any other questions. So I've got a question about if parents book meals over the summer, if those bookings will be carried over to the Child's New Year group. Yeah, absolutely. It will move over to the Child's New Year groups, and then once the pupils move over to the new classes, it will just reflect on there. But what you could do, if the child's class still looks different, as long as you've updated your data on your MIS system and you've run the import, if it does look different, just go into Admin, Register Manager, again, click on School Dinners or whichever register you want to update, and then click on Update Student Details, and that will put them in the correct classes if they're not in the correct classes. But they should pull across into the child's registers anyway. So if you do book over the summer, that's absolutely fine. It will be carried over. Another question about setting up a brand new club register. So that's something that you can't do yourself. That is something that we would need to do for you. So if you send a support ticket and let the support staff know what you'd like setting up, so the club name, what the price is, whether you want parents to book online or whether you want to manage it yourself in school, if you've got limited places for it, and then which year groups or which children you want to include in that register, and then we will do the initial setup for you. But once the initial setup has been done, you can then make any changes to it. But the actual initial club register needs to be set up by our support team. Another question we've got is if your leavers owe money, if they can still pay after they have left. Yeah, absolutely. They can still pay if they've left, providing they are still on the system, on roll on the system. And like I said, once you've updated your MIS system, the leavers at half debt will still stay on SchoolMoney. And obviously, if you off-roll them, then you're not going to see them. So don't off-roll them until you've either chased that payment or you've written off their debt. But yes, they can still pay for it even if they've left. So it's up to you if you want to keep chasing them. Just go to reports again, go to the money overdue report. They should be set up as leavers once they've actually been set to leavers on your MIS system. So you can actually change the year group to leavers. set the due date to all, and then you'll see all of your debt for leavers. And then once you press OK, that will show you everyone that's overdue, and then you can click on the chase overdue just to chase the leavers if that's the only ones that you want to chase. Okay, so we've got another question about having a SIMS link set up on more than one computer. Yeah, absolutely fine as well. You can have it on as many computers as you like, providing you've got SIMS on that computer. So again, follow the step-by-step instructions in the end of year guide, and that will show you how to install the link. So the actual V44 link, whenever you restart the computer, it will automatically pull across any changes. So providing you restart, it will do that for you. But if you don't restart, there should also be a little red box or a white box with a cogwheel in it, which will allow you to manually update the link whenever you want to. But yes, you can have it on more than one computer if you want to. Okay, another question we've got is how you send messages to pupils or parents to show them their total debt. So again, you can do that through the report section and go to money overdue. And what you can do is click on the group by student tick box in the bottom left, and then go into filter. I would again make sure that all the filters are set to all, and then press OK. And then that will show you their total debt for each person. And then all you need to do is click on chase overdue to chase those debts. Okay, so I've had a question about what is WAND. Okay, so WAND is basically like a medium to pull across the data from your MIS system to SchoolMoney. So if you're not using SIMS, WAND is probably the option that you would have to pull across the data. So if you're using anything like Integris, ScholarPack, any other MIS system, we can basically send an invitation from WAND to yourself to get the integration set up between WAND, SchoolMoney, and yourselves. And that's just a way to pull across your data. So if you haven't already got that link set up, again, you can get in touch with us, and then we can send an invite to yourself to get the integration set up for you between WAND and SchoolMoney. I'll just check if there's any other questions. So the link to the user guides is just in the top right-hand corner, just over here. So this little book icon, you just click on the guide section, and they are PDF files, so you can download them and print them off if you want to. But there's several guides in here. There's also a September cheat sheet as well, which will help you for anything that you need to do in September. And like I said, the end of year guide is going to be very useful as well to you, and that will cover everything that I've gone through today with you. So I've got a question about if you have transferred money from a trip to the credit pot to close the crypt down and archive it, can you then write off the money owing? Yeah, absolutely. So once the money's been transferred to credit, that person will look like they've got debt. So you will need to write off the payment so it doesn't look like they owe that payment. And then the credit will stay in the pot until you've either, refunded the parent back or you've transferred it to a different payment. But again, have a look at the credit report if there are any people that have got credit, and then you can decide what you want to do with that, whether you want to allocate it to a different payment or whether you want to refund the parent back. So I've got a question about if a year 6 leaves, can you transfer any debt to a sibling? You can't actually transfer any debt to a sibling, but what you could do is you could write off the debt for that child that is leaving and then set up another payment against the younger child for that debt amount. So then the parent can then see what they owed for the older child. So when you actually set up the payment, what you could do is set it up under payment type other, and then maybe just call it something like debt from older child or debt from the child's name, and then just set the amount up and then save it and then assign it to the younger child. And then as long as it's online to them, they'll be able to see the debt against the younger child. So yeah, it doesn't automatically happen, but you can do that you'll have to obviously create a new payment for the younger child and then write off the debt for the older child. And just maybe when you put the write-off on, just put a little note in there to say that transfer to younger child or something along those lines. So you can't write off in bulk for students that owe money, but there are two ways that you can do write-off. So you can either do it through the payment itself or through the cashier tab. If you're doing it through the payment itself, all you do is double click on the actual payment, click on the child, and then go into manage payments, and then obviously write off all their installments if you need to, or whichever installments you want to, and then go down the list and do it for everybody else that you need to write it off for. Alternatively, you can do it through the cashier tab, find the child, and then do it through this screen. Works the same way, but you won't be able to write off in bulk. Let me just see if there's any other questions. So I've got a question. If a parent is donating the credit to the school upon leaving the school, do you have to manually off-roll the child after they have left, as you cannot clear the credit? So you can actually clear the credit if you want to on the system just by going to the cashier tab. But obviously, if you do clear the credit, it will completely clear it from SchoolMoney and any trace of it. So if I just find somebody that's got credit, what you can do is click on the amount just over here in the top right hand corner, click on the credit amount, and then click on remove credit before you off-roll the child. So if I just click on remove credit, it will ask you if you're sure to remove that credit, and then you just press OK. But that will then remove any trace of that credit. So only do that if you're absolutely sure that you want to do that. Okay. And then once you've removed that credit, we can then go to the admin section, students, find the child, tick them, action in the bottom left, update their admission status and change it to off-roll, and then OK it. Okay, I'll just check if there's any other questions. Because I've got a question about whether you can add pre-admissions on the system. Yeah, absolutely. You can add pre-admissions on from now if you want to. It is a manual process. So what you'll need to do is go into admin, students, click on add in the bottom right-hand corner, and you would need to add them in as visitors. So just type in the child's name, first name, surname, year group and form set to visitor. Admission status you can put as new admission. Add in the parent's mobile number and email address, and then save it. Providing the information is the same as what you add in September when you actually import the data in, it should be fine. However, it may be a case where some of your pupils may get duplicated if some of the information doesn't match up. But if that does happen, then just get in contact with us and we can merge the profiles for you. But yeah, you just add them into this section, admin students, add them in as visitors, admission status to a new admission, and then just press save. Just going to check if there's any other questions. So I've had another question about whether you can cancel or close trips, removing payments, or whether you have to still write these payments off. So yeah, again, before you can actually archive the payment, you would need to either remove the children from the payment or write off the debt. So again, I'll just show you how to do that. Just double click into the payment. If people haven't paid, you can just click on Manage Students and press Remove All, or just remove them individually if you want to. So as long as you do that, there'll be no debt against that child. Or alternatively, like I said, is you can, let me just save that first. You can click on the child, manage payments, and then write off the debt. So you've got two options. It's entirely up to you, but you would need to clear off the debt before you can archive it. So I've had a new question about why do we have to add the new admissions as visitors? Because the data will be coming through from your MIS system, it's the actual year groups and forms that are coming through from your MIS system, and pre-admission don't come through because they're not fully admitted on the system. So if you do want them to be able to pay on SchoolMoney, they would need to be added in as visitors, or you can add them in as one of the other year groups or forms that are already on the system. But to kind of help you when you're filtering it down, it's probably best that you do it as a visitor. Yeah, I can show you again where to access the one tab. So that's in Teachers to Parents, and it's just over here. So to get into that, if I just go back to home, you just go to the admin icon and then click on the One tab. Like I said, if you've already got Wand, the Wand ID will already be filled in for you. So don't make any changes to this because this is connecting it to your school. You just need to click on Import Student Details. So I've got a question of, if your reception starters are on pre-admissions on Integris, will the details still pull through on SchoolMoney and T2P? So it depends on whether they have been admitted. If they've been fully admitted on Integris, then they will come through to SchoolMoney. If they are just in the, the status where they're just on the system, then they won't come through. So they have to be fully admitted before they'll come through to SchoolMoney or Teachers to Parents. Okay, so that seems like all the questions, but obviously if there are any that we've missed out, we will try and reply back to you individually, at some point after the webinar. So I'm now going to introduce my colleague Vinny, who's our Teachers to Parents expert, and he'll give you a brief tour of our virtual parents evening system, and he's also offering an exclusive discount as well. So I'll just pass you over to him.
Hello, afternoon. Can you guys all hear me okay? I hope you can. Awesome, I've got a thumbs up from Veena just as it looks like I am. So I've only got pretty conscious of time. I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see a full idea of what Parents' Evening is, how it works, and sort of the key little bits of information that we've been taking away from it as well. So it's been a pretty hot topic for us guys, as I'm sure it has been a pretty hot topic for you guys as well. One of the key things that we've kind of noticed, especially with the uptake of Parents' Evening and the virtual element of Parents' Evening, so this is something that was introduced just a couple of months ago in February. One of the key things that we can take away, it's a really simple system, it's really effective, it keeps things very simple for the school. Now, if you look at sort of typically how we look at Parents' Evenings and how they've happened previously, there's a lot less admin-related tasks that are involved with this kind of stuff. So it's a very easy system. It allows parents to make a booking online. It then prevents any parents from then having loitering in between appointments when you come to the actual day. There's no more chasing parents because you can do that all through the system as well. And one of the fantastic things that I really like about Parents' Evening is that this will actually link up to your SchoolMoney system and your Teachers to Parents system. So everything is very similar. Everything is the same in the sense of the layout and how it will function. The link up to your Sims account or your Wand account or your MIS system that you guys have, it'll all be existing. So nothing is brand new here. It's just an attached to an add-on element, so to speak. Now, like I said, I'm pretty conscious of time. So what I want to do is just show you guys sort of what to expect on the day. It's quite a popular question that we have. How does it all work? What does a virtual Parents' Evening look like? And how are we going to be able to make sure that parents and teachers are able to connect wherever they are to the comfort of their own home? So I've just prepared a little short video for you guys to give you an idea about sort of what it looks like. Now, typically on the day of your parents' evening, and we'll fast forward to the day of parents' evening, what you typically have is an email that will go sent out. That email gets sent out both to parents and to teachers respectively on the same day. So it's no need for teachers or parents to have to sign in. As soon as you assign it, or as soon as you're ready to go into the call, you can see, I'm just going to pause this here for now. You can see on the left-hand side that you've got a meeting schedule. So for each teacher, they'll have effectively a lobby. There'll be a virtual lobby, and you'll have, effectively all of your teachers coming into it and all of your appointments respectively following on from the next. And from a parent's perspective, you'd have, if it's just one appointment, then you'll have just the one appointment. If you've got siblings, or even if you've got multiple appointments for the same child, again, you'll be entered into a virtual lobby. There's no need to sign in and out once you're in the system. Now, effectively, you only need an audio device to connect. A video call is advised. But in this time, you can see you've got a few options here at the bottom as well. So we'll just wait for this to click on. Apologies. Not sure what's happened there. There you go. So you can see here, it's a side-by-side connection and what we call a peer-to-peer connection. So this is device to device. You'll have a teacher alongside a parent. Now, on the bottom, you've got a few settings, and you can see both the parents and the teacher will be able to see each other. You can change the viewing angle. So let me just fast forward this a little bit. So you can change the viewing angle as well, so to make sure that you can see, you can adjust accordingly, so that you can see either the teacher or the parent respectively. You don't want to get distracted by looking at yourself constantly. And then you've also got a few options at the bottom. So you can see that you've got time that's elapsed and time that you've got left on that call. So the teacher is in full control at every single point, and both the parent will always get an understanding of how long they've been on that call, how long they've got left. You can actually share screens, and this will be from both the teacher's perspective and the parent's perspective, so both teachers and parents can share their screens. You can also mute the call, or you can also adjust your virtual video call as well. And the only other option that you've got at that stage is, let me just go back a little bit, the only other thing that you've got there that I kind of want to point out is because you've got the ability for both parents and for teachers to see the time, the teachers will always be in control of that call. Excuse me. So if it is the case that you do eat into your comfort time, you can actually go through that and you can extend the time. If it's the other way around, where you will then log into, you will then assign into sort of your next call. So what you just want to do is make sure that you're constantly aware. Not sure what's happened there. To apologize. So it's just something to be mindful of, is that when you're on that call itself, the time that you'll always see will constantly be there as a reminder. And as I said, the teachers are in full control. If they want to cut that call at that point, they can do so and prepare for the next call if there's nothing for them to discuss. Now, as Veena mentioned, we do have an exclusive offer for you guys. So it's just a 3 months free. Now, depending on your current circumstances as well. So if you are actually a Parents Evening customer, you can add on the virtual element to it if you do wish. And that's actually just comes at an upgrade cost, so you're not actually investing for the full system again. And if it's the case where you are a brand new customer to Parents Evening, then either way you'll get 3 months free as part of your subscription. There will be an email that gets sent out, and off the back of this, if you pop in the clouds in your the referral code, you'll also be able to. We'll just make sure that those guys can see it. So there you go. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate everyone. It's been a busy time, and signed on for SchoolMoney, so thank you very much for giving me the 5 minutes to discuss Parents Evening. If there are any questions or queries, please do not hesitate. Please get in touch and speak to us. Cheers.